The 2020 United States Census reported that Atlanta had a population of 498,715. The population density was 3,685. 45 persons per square mile. 1,422. 95 per square kilometer. The racial makeup of Atlanta, including Hispanics, was 51.0% Black or African American, 49% white, 4.2% Asian and 0.3% Native American, and 1.0% from other races. 2.4% of the population reported two or more races. Hispanics of any race made up 6.0% of the city's population. The median income for a household in the city was $66,657. The per capita income for the city was $54,414. 22% of the population was living below the poverty line. Quote, in the 1920s, the black population began to grow in southern metropolitan cities like Atlanta, Birmingham, Houston, and Memphis. In the 2010 census, Atlanta was recorded as the nation's fourth largest majority black city. The new Great Migration brought an insurgence of African Americans from California and the North to the Atlanta area. It has long been known as a center of African American political power, education, economic prosperity, and culture. Often called a Black Mecca. Some middle and upper-class African American residents of Atlanta followed an influx of whites to newer housing and public schools in the suburbs in the early 21st century. From 2000 to 2010, the city's black population decreased by 31,678 people, shrinking from 61.4% of the city's population in 2000 to 54.0% in 2010. As the overall population expanded and migrants increased from other areas, Atlanta is also home to a large African immigrant community. The foreign-born black population in Atlanta has been rapidly increasing. At the same time, the white population of Atlanta has increased. Between 2000 and 2010, the proportion of whites in the city had notable growth. In that decade, Atlanta's white population grew from 31% to 38% of the city's population. An absolute increase of 22,753 people. More than triple the increase that occurred between 1990 and 2000. Early immigrants in the Atlanta area were mostly Jews and Greeks. Since 1970, the Hispanic immigrant population, especially Mexicans, has experienced the most rapid growth, particularly in Gwinnett, Cobb, and DeKalb counties. Since 2010, the Atlanta area has seen very notable growth with immigrants from India, China, South Korea, and Jamaica. Other notable countries' immigrants come from Vietnam, Eritrea, Nigeria, the Arabian Gulf, Ukraine and Poland. Within a few decades, and in keeping with national trends, immigrants from England, Ireland, and German-speaking Central Europe were no longer the majority of Atlanta's foreign-born population. The city's Italians included immigrants from northern Italy, many of whom had been in Atlanta since the 1890s. More recent arrivals from southern Italy, and Sephardic Jews from the Isle of Rhodes, which Italy had seized from Turkey in 1912. The Hispanic and Latino population in Atlanta and Metro Atlanta is growing strong. The largest Hispanic ancestries in Atlanta are Mexican, Puerto Rican and Cuban. There is a growing presence of Mexicans throughout the 10-county region. Mexicans are also concentrated along the Buford Highway and I-85 corridor. First noted in the 1990 census, have expanded and now extend well into Gwinnett County. Metro Atlanta has the 19th largest Hispanic population in the country. Atlanta also has a growing Asian American population. Most Asians in Atlanta are of Indian, Vietnamese, Chinese, Korean, Filipino, Pakistani and Japanese descent. Of the total population 5 years and older, 83.3% spoke only English at home, while 8% spoke Spanish, 3.9% another Indo-European language, and 2.8% an Asian language. 7.3% of Atlantans were born abroad. 86th in the U.S. Atlanta's dialect has traditionally been a variation of Southern American English. The Chattahoochee River long formed a border between the coastal Southern and Southern Appalachian dialects, because of the development of corporate headquarters in the region, attracting migrants from other areas of the country. By 2003, Atlanta magazine concluded that Atlanta had become significantly de-Southernized. A Southern accent was considered a handicap in some circumstances. In general, Southern accents are less prevalent among residents of the city and inner suburbs and among younger people. They are more common in the outer suburbs and among older people. At the same time, some residents of the city speak in Southern variations of African American English.